Welcome, I am GC Reddy, Information Technology Trainer and Consultant. I worked as a Network Administrator, Software Developer, Business Analyst, and Software Tester. Now, Software Testing Trainer and Consultant. Okay, today's session, Introduction to SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. First, session index. What is SQL? What is SQL? Structured Query Language. Next, purpose of SQL. Purpose. Just a minute. Purpose of SQL. Next, who should learn SQL? Who should learn SQL? Next, what are the subsets of SQL? What are the subsets of SQL? Next, subsets of SQL, data definition language, data definition language, Next, data manipulation language, data manipulation language. Next, just a minute. Last one, data control language. Data control language. See, this is the agenda. First, I am taking what is SQL. What is SQL? See, SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL was initially developed at IBM in 1970s. It is open source. Anybody can use with free of cost. SQL is the standard language to communicate with relational database management systems like Oracle, Microsoft Access, Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, IBM DB2, Sybase, etc. Relational database management system is the basis for SQL and for all modern database management systems. Say SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Structured Query Language. Next, SQL was initially developed at IBM. SQL was initially developed at IBM in 1970s. Next, SQL is the standard language. SQL is the standard language to to communicate with with relational database management database management systems like Oracle, Microsoft Access, next Microsoft SQL Server, just a minute. Next, open source or DBMS, MySQL is open source. Next, Oracle, MS Access, MS SQL Server, they are commercial. Next, DB2, Database 2 from IBM. Next, Sybase Etc. Say SQL is a standard language to communicate with relational database management systems like Oracle, MS Access, SQL Server, MySQL, DB2, Sybase, etc. Next, relational database management system is the basis for SQL and for all modern database management systems like MS SQL, SQL Server, DB2, Oracle, etc. Next, come to important topic, purpose of SQL. And one more thing, SQL is command-based language. It is not programming language. No flow control in SQL. Suppose if it is C language or C++ or Java, they are programming languages. You can use programming logic, flow control. But here, no flow control, no conditional statements, no loop statements. It is command-based language. It is not a programming language. Next, purpose of SQL. Purpose of structured query language. Purpose of structured query language. First one, SQL is used to, just a minute. SQL is used to SQL is used to create new databases. To create new databases. In any RDBMS, in Oracle or SQL Server or Sybase or DB2, SQL is used to create new databases in any RDBMS like Oracle, Sybase, SQL Server, MySQL, etc. Next, SQL is used to create new tables. In a database. New tables in a database. Next, SQL is used to insert records in a database. Used to insert records in a database. Next, just a minute. SQL is used to update. SQL is used to update records. Update records in a database. Next, SQL is used to delete records from a database. Delete records in a database. Say insert, update, delete. Data manipulations. Next, SQL is used to retrieve data from a database. SQL is used to retrieve data from a database. Next, SQL is used to execute queries against a database. SQL is used to execute queries against a database. Next, SQL can set, just a minute, SQL can set permissions on tables. Next, procedures and views. Next, SQL is used to create stored procedures. In a database. Next, SQL is used to create views in a database. Is used to create views in a database. See, these are the important operations of SQL. Creating new databases, creating new tables in a database, insert, update, delete records, retrieve data, execute queries. Next, set permissions on tables, procedures and views. Next, create stored procedures. Next, create views. Just a minute. Next, come to third topic. Who should learn SQL? Who should learn SQL? This is general topic. Who should learn SQL? Structured query language. First, database developers. Next, database administrators. DBA. Database administrators. Just a minute. DBAs. Database administrators. Next, database testers. Now, what is the purpose of database? What are the roles of database developers? See, who should learn SQL? Database developers, database administrators, and database testers. Database developers role. Design and deploy database table structures. Design and deploy database table structures. Next, forms. Next, reports and queries, etc. See, role of database developers. Design and deploy database table structures, forms, reports, and queries. Next, database administrators. Keeping databases up to date and managing database access. Keeping databases one or more up to date and managing database access. Next, writing reports, documentation, and operating manuals. Writing reports, documentation, and operating manuals. Next, database testers. Verify data integrity, verify data manipulations, add, update, delete. Next, data comparisons. See, verify important database operations for testers. Database testers responsibilities. Verify data integrity, completeness of the data, correctness and completeness of data. Next, verify data manipulations, add, update, and delete. Add records, update existing records, delete records. Next, data comparisons. Verify data comparisons. See, compare front-end data with back-end data, or compare two databases, or compare a database data with Excel file data, etc. See, compare front-end data with back-end data, compare two databases, or compare any two database resources, one database data with another database, or one database data with Excel file data, etc. See, these are the important responsibilities of database testers. See, database developers, database administrators, database testers. Come to fourth topic. What are the subsets of SQL? See, what are the subsets of SQL? Say, SQL commands we already discussed. SQL is not a programming language, command-based language. SQL commands can be classified into groups based on their nature. SQL commands. SQL commands can be classified, can be classified into groups based on their nature, based on their nature. They are first one, data definition language, data definition language, next, data manipulation language, data manipulation language. Just a minute. Manipulation language. Next, third one, data control language, data control language. See, we will discuss one by one. First, data definition language. Data definition language. See, fifth point, data definition language. Important commands and operations in data definition language. Important commands and operations in data definition language. Important commands, just a minute. Commands and operations. In data definition language. See, first one, create command. Create. What is the purpose of create command? To modify existing database objects. To modify existing database objects. Database objects, for example, table. Table is database object. See, to create database objects, to create databases and database objects. Database objects, for example, tables. To create databases and database objects, databases and tables. Next, alter command. Alter. First, create command to create databases and database objects in any RDBMS, relational database management system, like Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, DB2, MySQL, etc. Next, alter. To modify existing database objects. To modify existing database objects. Next, drop command. To drop databases and database objects to drop databases and database objects. Next, truncate. Truncate. To remove all records from a table. To remove all records from a table. Next, rename. Rename. To rename database objects. To rename database objects. See, these are the important commands and operations in data definition language, subset of structured query language, SQL. Create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename. Next, data manipulation language. Data manipulation language. Important commands and operations in data manipulation language. See, important commands and operations in data manipulation language. See, first one, select. Select. See, this select command is very important for database testers. What is the purpose of select command? To select specific data from a database. To select specific data from a database. Next, insert. Insert. To insert new records in a table. To insert new records in a table. Next, update. Update. Just a minute. To update existing records. To update existing records. Next, delete. To delete existing records from a table. Delete. To delete existing records from a table. See, these are the important commands and operations in data manipulation language, subset of data, subset of structured query language. Just a minute. Data manipulation language. Okay. See, important commands and operations in data manipulation language, subset of structured query language. Select, insert, update, and delete. Next, data control language. Data control language. Important commands. important commands and operations in data control language. First one, grant. Grant. What is the purpose of grant? Functionality of grant command to provide access on database objects to the users, to provide access on the databases database objects to the users. Next, revoke to remove user access rights to the database objects. To remove user access rights to the database objects, to the database objects. Next, deny to deny permission to a user, to deny permissions to a user, to deny permissions to users. See, these are the important commands and operations in data control language. It is subset of structured query language SQL. See, this is about introduction to SQL. Next, in coming tutorials, I will show practical also. What are the learning objectives and how to use SQL. See, in coming tutorials, I will show practical also. Thank you.